Creating a year's supply of content without actually having a plan is like trying to navigate yourself to an entirely new country without bringing a map, without bringing Google Maps, without bringing any type of compass to understand where you are at the moment and where you want to go. You can get there, but it's going to be very, very messy. And in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can develop a content plan for an entire year in just 30 minutes. This is a series brought to you by Semrush called How Content Works. And I'm super excited to share with you the techniques and strategies that you can embrace to create a content marketing plan that will allow you to get closer to your desired goals and objectives. Let's get to it. The first thing that we need to discuss when it comes to content planning is the downsides of operating without one. If you don't have a content plan, there are 4 simple things that could happen in your business that could wreak a lot of havoc. The first thing that could happen is your entire team be operating and executing without clear vision on where they want to go, what it is that they should be producing, why they should be producing various types of content, and whether or not these assets should live on one channel or the next. This is a major mistake, but it is something that happens time and time again, and that is why a content calendar is so key. The second issue with operating without a content plan is that you're not able to be proactive in planning and identifying what stories are going to come next. If you work in the B2B world, there are a key point in your life cycle of your customers that you might want to be talking about a certain thing. For example, if you're in the world of finance, you might know when your ICP typically has their end of calendar year, and thus you want to create content that speaks to that. Or if you're in B2C and you know that you sell things like chocolate around Valentine's Day, you should probably plan in advance for content that is focused on that topic. This is where content planning plays a major part in your proactivity of being efficient, effective, and creating content that works. The second issue that happens when you don't have a content plan is that you're stressed. I see this time and time again. Organizations, writers, creators, editors frantically stressing. Their blood pressure is rising because they don't have a plan. If you have a content plan, the stress goes down. The amount of burnout goes down because you now have clarity on where you want to go and how you're going to get there. The final and arguably one of the most important reasons why you want to operate with a content plan is that it allows you to ensure that every piece that you create has a level of intent. What do I mean by that? What is the intent behind why you are producing and developing different types of content? What do you want those pieces of content to do for you, your business? Those are the things that you need to understand. Otherwise, you're going to be creating without actually having clarity on the why. By developing a content plan, you can say that certain types of pieces of content that you develop are going to try to influence organic traffic. Some of the content that you develop is going to influence the increase in followers and brand mentions. And some type of content that you develop might have an intent of simply elevating your corporate culture by celebrating teammates and colleagues. All of these types of content have a different intent. And by having a content calendar and a plan around your content, you can ensure that that plan is rooted in intent. So now that you have clarity on why you should have a content calendar, a content plan, and clarity around the things that you should be essentially thinking about as you develop that plan, let's dive into the specifics. What is a content plan? A content plan is essentially the roadmap and the frameworks that gives you clarity on the types of content that you should be producing, the channels in which those pieces of content will be living, and the dates in which those pieces of content will go live. When you understand those 3 things, the types of content, the places those content assets will go, and finally, the dates in which they will go live, it makes it easier for you to plan in advance the stories that you should be telling every single month. Now, you have clarity on what a content plan is, but where in the world do you start? As I mentioned, I believe that you can create a content plan for an entire year in just 30 minutes. And the way that you can do it is to start by understanding upfront what your goals and objectives are within the business. What are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to see as an end result of this content plan? Is it organic traffic? Is it social referral traffic? Are you trying to increase your brand awareness, increase your social media following, or maybe you're trying to elevate your brand's culture and brand story to attract great talent? That is going to depend on your business, your situation, and your organization at large. But once you have clarity on those specifics, the next step is to start thinking about exactly how you can achieve that goal. Different types of content are going to increase your likelihood of being successful at achieving certain content goals. So now you need to think and understand what those different types of content are that will allow you to achieve these goals. Let's say you're trying to increase your organic traffic to your website. We all know that millions of people every single day are going to Google and they are typing in keywords that are relevant potentially to your business. As such, you want to show up for these keywords. So what should you do as you develop your content plan? The first thing that you want to think about is that journey that your customers go through, starting from discovery all the way through to close when they're actually ready to buy from you. You want to be thinking about the combinations and the different types of words and phrases that they might go to Google and actually type in to learn about your business. Better yet, learn things that are associated with your business. By doing so, you're understanding the types of things that they might be interested in, and if you can create content that captures their attention across the entire journey of them making a decision of actually buying from you, buying your product, buying your solution, you have done something special. You have identified all of the different types of content that they could be interested in throughout their journey. Let's talk about this a little bit more so you can get more clarity on how to create a content plan rooted in research. I want to use an example that you're able to really understand. So let's pretend that we are running a CRM software company, a customer relationship management tool. We are in the space of selling a product that allows people to manage their sales leads, manage their prospects, etc. But we need to develop a content plan that's going to drive results as it relates to organic traffic. What are we going to do? We're going to use a tool like Semrush to unlock and research the different types of keywords that they might be interested in. How do we start this process? We start by understanding the things that they would type into Google that would allow them to learn about our space. Maybe they're typing in, what is a CRM? How do you pick a CRM? How does your sales team increase leads? How do you manage data for a high growth sales team? How do you manage contact data for a high growth sales team? You would do the research to understand whether or not these are queries and questions that people are asking on a regular basis. If they are, that presents an opportunity for you to potentially create content that falls into these categories. But we all know that Google and search is not the only way that these people make decisions. They also go to channels like LinkedIn. They also go to channels like Twitter, and they have dialogues with their peers and their colleagues on a regular basis. Now, in this specific example, we're talking about organic, but as you think about your content plan, there's a possibility that you would want to take insights from this research and create content that they would find relevant and interesting when they are not immediately in that buying stage. For example, on LinkedIn, you might want to plan at the early stages of that journey how you can create content that talks to this ideal audience about how to get their first sales job, how to interview well for a sales job. Again, these individuals might not necessarily be in the market today for a CRM, but by creating this content, you're getting your brand in front of them. And if your goal is to increase social referral traffic or social engagement, these types of assets can be an amazing part of your plan. All right, now let's talk about what happens after we've done the keyword research to understand what these people might be interested in. We now need to understand how we can actually produce these different pieces of content. That starts to become a part of our actual content plan. But before we jump directly into execution, we want to think full customer journey. In the middle of the funnel, aka MOFU. The middle of the funnel is where people are starting to consider and make decisions around one product versus the next. People will be likely going to Google and typing in things like, what are the best CRM tools that I should use? One CRM versus the other CRM, where they're actually typing in those brand names. Or they might be asking tutorials on how to create or select the best CRM. These are things that people who are getting close, who are already solution aware, typing into Google. You want to develop a plan around content that can be rooted in that type of query. Then, when you're thinking about the people who are already ready to buy, They too are going to Google trying to make a decision around your product and your offering. They're going to be typing in things like CRM pricing, best price for the CRM. They are more ready to transact, to swipe a credit card, to have a demos on certain CRM. These are the things that they would look for. Once you use Semrush to understand the keywords and the volume across that full funnel experience, you now can say with confidence, I now know a handful of different topics that we should be creating over the next 12 months that we should bring to life. Now you can take this same thinking, this same perspective, and apply it to different channels, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Reddit, you name it. You start to apply similar thinking across the board around what are the things that our audience would be interested in, how can we create these stories and tell these stories effectively, and then how can we actually plan them well in advance. The true key to content planning is getting to know your customers. After you've done all of this research around the things that they are typing into Google, the questions that they're asking, at the heart of this effort is research. You're trying to study and learn as much as you can about the behaviors and the actions that your audience is taking on a regular basis to get closer to buying your product or your solution. There are 4 simple questions that I believe you should be asking yourself as you go through the content planning process and figuring out exactly how to ensure that the stories that you tell are going to resonate with your audience. The first question that you need to ask is, what does your ideal customer look like? What exactly is their profession? What exactly are the pains and problems that they have on a day-to-day basis? These are the things that you want to understand. You want to ask questions like, where are they located? Are they working at a Fortune 500 company or a small mom and pop shop? Is this individual struggling with a certain thing, or are they thriving in some way and they just want to get better? You have to put yourself into their shoes, understand their worldview, their perspective, their pains, their needs, their wants, their location, their psychographics, their demographics. All of these things should inform your plan. The second question that you need to ask is, what would lead this person to actually buying from me? What types of stories can I tell that are going to increase the likelihood of them buying? What stories can I tell them that are going to attract their attention? What stories and content assets can I create that they are interested in and that they actually care about? Once you understand that, the next step is to figure out, what is their buying process like? In some industries, people can make a decision extremely quickly. There's not a ton of research that is required when they're buying a pair of socks. But if those socks happen to be waterproof and they just heard of this new discovery, this new idea, maybe they're going to spend more time trying to understand what are the benefits and what are the pros and cons and whether or not certain waterproof socks are different from another. These are the types of things when you are content planning you need to think about so you can create content that is rooted in the questions that your audience might ask. And the fourth question that I truly believe every brand needs to ask, every creator needs to ask is, how can you get your content in front of them? What channels are they spending time on? Are you confident that they are on these channels? And if so, how are they using them? What types of content on these channels are resonating or engaging with them and that they have actually seen value in, so you should use as inspiration for the pieces you create next? At this point in the process, you should have a deep understanding of the types of keywords that your audience is looking for at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and at the bottom of the funnel. Let me reiterate this for you one more time. At the top of the funnel, you are creating content that would attract your audience's attention. This is content that helps them achieve a certain goal that is related to their situation at the moment, at the time. It might not have anything to do directly with your offering. For example, if I'm selling and offering a CRM solution, maybe I have a piece of content that are 20 sales movies that every sales executive should watch. This has nothing to do directly with a CRM tool, but it has everything to do with my audience who might be a sales executive. They would watch this blog post, read this blog post, consume the movies, and ultimately say, thank you to my brand for adding some entertainment and interesting content into their feed. That is top of funnel content. It attracts attention. And every single day, there are people going to Google, typing in sales movies, movies on sales, movies about sales, variations of that. And you can use tools like Semrush to validate and confirm what the volume is as it relates to these searches every single month. Once you move into the middle of the funnel, you start to think similarly, except you're getting closer and closer to your actual product. So someone who is offering a CRM software might be going to Google and typing in something like, how do you choose a CRM tool? How do I manage my leads? What is the best way to automate follow-ups and responses and text messages to specific clients? These are the things that they would type in when they're looking to solve a problem. And you have the opportunity to create this content to help them solve a problem while also educating them on the solution that you are selling. That final phase is when they are ready to buy. This is where you're creating content directly about your product, directly about the thing that you are offering. You could create literally a piece of content on the top 10 CRM solutions, the top 10 wallets that you must buy, the top 10 pillowcases that you must buy. All of these topics would fall into the category of bottom of funnel content because the people who are looking to buy are likely typing in those types of keywords into search. And if you have content that answers that query and ultimately references your business and your offering, and those people reading it buy from you, ching ching, you just cashed the register and you just were able to convert a sale through your content. We've spent a lot of time talking about how you can leverage understanding the keywords that your audience is looking for in Google to develop your content plan. But it doesn't end there. You can also develop a content plan rooted in social media. If you have an Instagram account, one of my favorite tricks is to go to the Discover page, type in a keyword, a hashtag that is relevant to your industry, and start to get inspiration around the content that floats to the top post section within Instagram. Once you see this, you can get a better understanding of the type of content that is resonating with your audience. I like to call this content market fit. You can apply this same thinking to every single social channel. On Twitter, what are the most highly engaged pieces of content that are being shared on this platform? Do the research. On LinkedIn, what are the types of posts that are generating the most engagement in your industry and in your space? Do the research. On Reddit, what is the content that is generating the most engagement within a specific subreddit that is relevant to your niche? Do the research. You have to do the research. Once that research is conducted, the ideas just start flowing and can make up your content plans for the year. Here are 10 content ideas that you can steal and place into your content plan immediately. 1, you can start to create how-to content. How to do a certain thing that your audience would find valuable, that your audience is going to Google and trying to learn how to do today. If you can create how-to content, whether it's in video format, written content, or short form video, this content is highly valuable to almost every single audience. The second type of content that you can produce is a roundup of all kinds of different resources and assets and placing them into a single spot. This is called curation, a creation piece of content where you're collecting all of the different things that your audience might find valuable, like a bunch of movies that a sales exec might find valuable. This is a collection of content that your audience might find value in, and by pressing publish on this piece of content, they will be grateful that you did the work of curating all of these things on their behalf. The third type of content that you can add to your calendar is a list of stats. Do the research surrounding different things that are relevant in your space and compile a list of statistics around a certain topic. For example, if you're in the world of CRM, you might create a list of different CRM stats that everybody needs to know. Let's say you're in the world of B2C. Maybe you create a list of stats related to the benefits of chocolate. Whatever it may be, you have to think about your audience and you have to think about the things and the stats that they might find interesting. If you can compile them all into one place, that can be a valuable asset for your audience. The fourth type of content that you can create for your audience is an interview. Interview an expert within your industry and ask them questions that your audience would find value in. You can do this over email, or you can jump on a podcast and actually record an interview with them, which gives you two types of content at once, and use that to give your audience value as they get an inside look into the way that an expert within your industry thinks. The fifth type of content that you can add to your content plan is thought leadership. If you can bring new ideas and new perspectives to your audience that they've never heard of before, that can be an amazing win. It elevates your brand, it increases your brand's awareness, and people will love the fact that you are shaking things up in terms of how you're thinking about the industry. The sixth type of content that you can develop for your content plan is definition based. If you can educate people on terms and acronyms and phrases that are specific to your niche and your industry, there are a lot of people every single day trying to figure out what is a CRM. If you can create that content and it can live on your site, you can capture a lot of organic traffic on the back of those phrases. The seventh type of content that you can develop is culture-driven content. Take people behind the scenes to better understand the way that things operate and exist within your company. Talk about your new hires, talk about the people who have joined your team, or talk about the most recent annual retreat and the things that you learned about business and your team learned about the direction of where your company is going. The eighth idea that you can add to your content plan is stories surrounding what's happening in your industry. This is breaking news. This is something that just happened today in our industry and in our space, and here's why you need to hear it. Those are pieces that will always resonate immediately with your audience. They can give you a very quick spike in terms of your traffic to your website and give you an authoritative position as being always in the know of what's happening in your space. The ninth idea for your content plan is an infographic. These are a visual way of telling a story surrounding something that matters to your audience. If you can create these types of pieces of content and they can be highly engaging, filled with visuals that are captivating and capture your audience's attention, they can be a major win for increasing your backlinks to your website, but also increasing engagement on site with your brand. And the 10th and final idea that I'm going to give you for your content plan is to provide people with a template, a resource, a guide, something that they can use, download, take, and steal to actually get closer to their desired goal. You can give them a job description template. You can give them a checklist to accomplish a certain thing. You can give them a kit of resources and tools that they would find value in. This can be an amazing way to drive value and add value to your audience's life. Speaking of kits, it just so happens that in the video description, you can find a content marketing kit that will arm you with everything you need to get started with your content plan, to get started with your content marketing engine. The link is below in the description. I strongly encourage you to check it out. You're going to get a ton of value from this free download. Click it, download it, and enjoy. So there you have it. Those are 10 easy ideas that you can integrate into your content plan within the next 30 minutes. But I don't want you to take all of this information and say, all right, I can do all of the things. I want you to actually pause the brakes for just a second and realize that all of these things take time. All of these things take effort. It's not easy to snap your fingers and produce content for an entire year. So you have to ensure that inside of your organization, or if you are a solopreneur running your own business, you need to understand whether or not the content that you're producing is actually viable. Do you have the budget to create an infographic? If not, that's okay. Maybe you try a different approach. Maybe you create more thought leadership ideas. Maybe you create more templates, more tools, or how-to content. You have to figure out what is right for you. Do you have the budget or the time to invest in these types of content assets? And remember, no brand is going to have the exact same content plan. Every brand is going to be different. Some organizations are going to be great with the written word. Some organizations are going to be great with podcasting and video. Find out what's great for you, where you can thrive, where you can win, and then pursue that as you develop your content plan and recognize that not every content plan should look the exact same. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got a ton of value out of this. Thank you for watching the series of how content works. I hope to see you further. Check out the other videos throughout the series to learn even more about how content can drive a meaningful and measurable result for your business. Have a great day or evening.